I'm Joy and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share just a couple of healthy and realistic tips that I've learned, especially for the first trimesters. This is my second pregnancy and I'm actually in my second trimester now. I'll be in my third trimester in a couple of weeks, so probably should have filmed this, earlier, but I didn't. Since this is my second pregnancy, I feel like I have a little bit to compare to, and I'm basically an expert in pregnancy now. No big deal. But with this being my second pregnancy, they have been two very different pregnancies in the sense of where I'm at in life. So my first pregnancy, I was a barista and I was working about 30 to 35 hours a week. So I was working a lot, but I didn't have any kids, obviously, because it was my first pregnancy. And then with my second pregnancy, I've been super blessed to be a stay-at-home mom. But I have a kid, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Even though I'm not working, it's still like I'm still taking care of a kid. And during that first trimester, I was going to school, like part-time, I think like 10 hours or so, or 10 credits, whatever that all transfers over to. So they were two different pregnancies, and I feel like I have experience in both working while being pregnant and being a stay-at-home mom while being pregnant. So here's some things that I have learned and I think will help you a little bit too. First one is gonna be a little bit cliche, a little bit obvious. I feel like every single healthy tips video, every single pregnancy video is gonna tell you this, but it is so important to stay hydrated because being hydrated is just so important for you, for your baby. You're starting to have all this new influx of hormones and your blood volume is starting to increase and your body just needs a lot more water. And honestly, I feel like it's not too hard to drink a lot of water in the first trimester because a pretty common symptom is having extreme thirst. I know for me personally, that was kind of like one of the symptoms that I knew I might have been pregnant is because of how thirsty I was suddenly getting. Some tips are find a water bottle that you love. I love this one. It is a hydro flask and it keeps everything super cold. During my first trimester, I love to drink ice water. I feel like it really soothes my stomach. Like it just really helped with a lot of that nausea. If you're somebody who doesn't really like water, sorry, can't relate. If you're somebody who doesn't really like water, I would recommend maybe adding like lemon or cucumber or maybe like mint to your water to kind of flavor it up. So my goal with drinking water is I like to drink about 75 ounces or about this is 80 ounces. This is 40 ounces, and so I try to drink two of these. So I try to drink about 80 ounces of water a day. And I feel like that is just the bare minimum. I usually drink a little bit more than that, but bare minimum, I feel like that keeps me hydrated. Tip number 2 is supplements. So these are some of the supplements that I take. So obviously every healthcare provider is gonna recommend that you take some sort of prenatal. I take Garden of Life, and I really like it because it's made with all organic materials. It's organic, so that just makes me feel a little bit better about what I'm putting in my body. And another thing I like about it is it contains folate versus folic acid. So they both pretty much do about the same thing. However, folate is a little bit more naturally occurring and folic acid, I believe, is man-made. But I believe they do the same thing, but I would prefer to look for a vitamin that has folate. Another supplement I really like to take is fish oil. This is the brand that I use. Personally, I have a hard time taking fish oil in the first trimester. I ended up taking a plant-based omegas when I was in my first trimester because I could not stand the taste or the thought of fish oil. It kind of made me gag a little bit. Everything made me gag. So I would take a gummy version of the omegas, and I feel like that helped a lot. Omegas are really good for the baby's brain health, your brain health, heart health, just a whole array of things they're good for. Another supplement I take is probiotics. And I'm gonna be 100% honest, I am not super consistent with probiotics. I know the benefits of them, I know they're good for you. However, I'm just not super consistent. The best time to take them is first thing in the morning before you've had any food or anything like that. But I'm getting there. Another supplement that I take that I don't take super regularly, but I take pretty often is vitamin D. I'm out of it right now, so I need to go buy some more. But I really like to take vitamin D. I've been approved by my midwife to take vitamin D, and all of these supplements I've been approved by my midwife to take. So anytime you're starting any sort of new supplements, definitely check with your healthcare provider before you just take the advice of someone on the internet. You know. So I live in the Pacific Northwest and we don't get a lot of sun, and I've been primarily pregnant during the fall, winter, and early spring. So those are like all the seasons that we don't really get sun up here. So I really need vitamin D. I feel like it helps a lot with my mood. And first off, it's too cold outside, it's raining, we don't really get to see the sun, so I don't really get that natural vitamin D, which ultimately natural vitamin D is the best source of vitamin D, but supplements work too. So a tip when it comes to taking supplements, especially in the first trimester, if you can't really stomach your supplements or the taste of your vitamins. For me personally, during my first trimester, I can't stand the taste of, like, once the supplement or like the vitamin hits my tongue, I'm just like, ugh. Like, it just tastes so bad and I get really like nauseous and I want to gag. What I noticed that helped a lot is I would take my supplements at night. I feel like that was when I was the least amount of nauseous. Yeah, I could just stomach them a little bit better. Or another tip is you can take gummy vitamins. From what I know, gummy vitamins aren't bad. Like, I think they still are pretty effective. However, the only problem with gummy vitamins is they're kind of expensive and you end up having to take like 3 or 4 gummy vitamins that's the equivalent of one of these. So you end up spending a little bit more, I would say, on vitamins, but if that's the only thing that you can do to take your vitamins, definitely do that. Tip number 3 is to just be gentle and kind on yourself. Like, first trimester is rough. I would say that's probably the hardest trimester for me. I get really, really nauseous, so low energy, and I'm I have pretty good energy normally. So to go from like good and normal energy to like feeling like I'm dead is not, you know, it's hard, and it's really hard, especially if you're someone who really likes to be productive, or even just like chasing around your toddler or being at work. Like, you just feel so drained and so tired. So just be gentle with yourself, just be kind to yourself, and just know that your routines are probably going to be off. You're probably going to have a hard time having a morning routine. And if you don't, if you are one of those people who in your first trimester, you are still a superhuman, congrats to you. I'm so happy for you. Like, you are blessed. Like, that is awesome. I am not one of those people. My first trimester for both my pregnancies has been rough. So if you're like me, just be kind, just be gentle to yourself, and just know that you are doing a great job, and to just keep pushing through. Like, you got this. I believe in you. Also, to kind of go off of that, if you have kids, I would say it's okay to give them a little bit of screen time. I feel like it's such a controversial topic sometimes, like, to give your kid too much screen time. But if you're so sick and you can't do anything, you can't give them the attention they need, and you don't have, like, you know, a ton of people to watch them, just give them a little bit of TV. They will be fine, I promise. My husband grew up in front of a TV. My parents put me in front of a TV. I think we turned out okay. No, we turned out fine. We turned out fine. And also, when it comes to your diet, exercise, everything, my first trimesters, in both trimesters, all I wanted was cheese and crackers. I wanted to eat all the cheese and all the saltine crackers. That was the only thing my body could handle. And you know what? It's okay. I'm in my second trimester. I can eat salads. My first trimester, this time, literally the thought of a salad would make me gag. Like, the thought of eating vegetables made me want to die. Like, I could not stomach any sort of vegetables. I couldn't stomach anything. So if you're also like me and you struggle with that, that's okay. Second trimester does get better. You do get your energy back if you want to start working out again. I think during my first trimester, I worked out like a handful of times. Like, I still tried to work out when I had energy, or I would try stretching, but honestly, like, just be kind to yourself. Just get through the first trimester and things will get better. So tip number 4 is start getting rid of toxic cleaners and just products in general that you have. I just recently switched to Blue Land cleaning products, And so far I really like them. They're actually a sustainable brand, so these are made out of like a really hard plastic, and then you can get like little refillable tablets, which honestly at the end of the day they end up being a lot cheaper than most products like Mrs. Meyer's or any of those other cleaning products, because when you're pregnant you really want to just start using as many clean products as you can. So anything like 409, Clorox, any sort of like intense like chemically smell, you should definitely start staying away from. They're just not really good for your house in general, and they're not really, I would say, safe around kids. Like I personally wouldn't want them anywhere around my kids, because if they were to get into them or anything like that, it could be really poisonous to them. Whereas products like these aren't as, like obviously they're still, you shouldn't be drinking these products, but they're not as bad as like, you know, some of those other like kind of cheaper brands that honestly, for me personally, I get really nauseous and really sick whenever I smell those kind of smells. Maybe it's because I'm just so used to kind of like my non-toxic ingredients. I know there's a bunch of like YouTube tutorials if you want to make your own non-toxic cleaners. So like I know like vinegar is a good one. I'm personally not a huge fan of it. I really like these, but vinegar is a really cheap option as well. This is another one. I really like this brand. It's BioClean. They're also a local Washington brand, so I really like to support local brands. This, honestly, it's a carpet and shampoo cleaner, and it smells so good. It doesn't give me a headache. Like I feel like some of those other brands just really give me horrible headaches. So this is a great brand to check out. Deodorant is also a product that I would really recommend switching, if you haven't switched already, to a more natural brand. So brands like Dove, Secret, those kind of brands honestly aren't the best. They're usually filled with like a lot of aluminum and fragrance and just a lot of like icky products that you really don't want to be putting in your armpits, because everything that you put on your skin gets absorbed into your body, and when it's absorbed into your body, it's also absorbed by the baby. I know there's a lot of great research out there, especially when it comes to deodorant. My favorite is Native, and honestly they are a little bit on the expensive side. Like I think this deodorant is like $12. Like I think it's a really good product. I feel really good using it. Some natural deodorants don't really go on smoothly, or I've had issues where some brands will kind of like clog my armpit ducts. I don't know, clog my pores under my armpits. Then it's just super uncomfortable. Whereas I haven't had that problem with Native, and I know there's a ton of like YouTube influencer people who get sponsored by Native. Obviously, I'm a small YouTuber, so I'm not sponsored. You can always kind of look around for any sort of discount codes or anything like that, and I think you can get them for a little bit cheaper. Tip number 5 is, if you live in a place where you can go outside and get fresh air, or if you can just crack a window and just get that fresh air in your house, I think that helps so much. Like I feel like, yeah, during my first trimester, for both pregnancies, I have been so incredibly nauseous, and so that fresh, cool air. My first trimester was primarily in the fall for both of my pregnancies, so I feel like I was really fortunate in that, where I could open the windows and let in a lot of fresh air. I could still go for walks because it was still kind of sunny, getting colder but still sunny. So I would say getting outside and just, I mean, going for a walk is good for you in general, but just getting that fresh air, it helps so much with the nausea, and fresh air is just really good for you. Tip number 6 is start doing breathing and any sort of stretching sort of exercises. So you might not have the energy or even have the stomach to be able to do a bunch of like crazy workouts. That's totally fine. Allow your body to rest. But I would highly recommend to start stretching now. Birth is a marathon. Whether you're doing medicated or unmedicated, you still want to prepare your body as best as you can for when that birth process starts. So it's just so much better to be prepared as soon as possible, and it can help with any sort of new aches and pains that you're starting to get. Like I know I have really bad sciatica with both of my pregnancies, and just doing that stretching really helps a lot. Any sort of like just breathing, like just we could do it right now. It's super simple. You just breathe in and out. And I feel like it's just it just helps you relax. It helps just kind of de-stress. It's really good to start practicing your breathing now. Like I said, whether you're doing medicated or unmedicated, you're still gonna go through contractions. You're still gonna feel contractions, unless if you have like a scheduled C-section, then you might not. But for the most part, you are gonna feel contractions. So you wanna be able to start practicing your breathing now. And tip 7 is, and also kind of another cliche, is just get some sleep. Really make sure that you're resting your body during this time. You are growing a human. Like, you are doing so awesome, and I'm so proud of you for growing a human. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. I make videos about my faith, my motherhood, my pregnancy journey right now, and just creating a healthy home, which includes being a healthy mom. So if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe. I would absolutely love that. I will see you next Friday. Bye. Ugh. What am I trying to say? How do I word this? Is that clear?